So if you've started getting into improvising on the guitar, you've probably gone ahead and learned the pentatonic scale. The pentatonic scale is a great way to get into this and start improvising because first of all it sounds good and there's actually only 5 notes in it as opposed to other scales like the major scales or the modes of the major scales which have 7. And they tend to be also, the pentatonic scale tends to be very ergonomic on the guitar. Now, if you've learnt it, I'm guessing that you've learned these shapes where we play like horizontally on the guitar. Or vertically, that's the word I was looking for. Right, so like this would be pattern 1 in the key of A. Then you would go over here for pattern 2. Then pattern 3. 4. 5. Right, gone ahead and learned those shapes, which are great. But there are actually other ways you can play that exact same scale on the guitar, and you still get the same notes, but because of the nature of you having to play it differently, you might find it actually makes your playing not sound as samey. Because I'm sure if you've done some improvising, you're like, oh, sounds like everything I'm doing is the same, and it can get a bit frustrating. So getting rid of some of your muscle memory and trying some new scale shapes can be a great way to work around that. So let's get into how this works. So I've got a screen recording up, and as well as that, this sheet will be available for download in the description. There'll be a link to a Google Drive where you can have it for free. So you'll see, if we look at this first diagram, we have all these red dots which indicate the notes in this pentatonic scale, and the dots with the R in them, they are where the root notes will line up. So whatever key you're in, you want to line up those R's with the root notes. Now the good news is, if you line up one of them, then all of the rest will fall into place, so you don't have to sweat it too much. But if we take the key of A, which is a very common key to start improvising in, it's in a good place on the guitar, and we line up this note that has an R in it on the 5th fret with it. And we're going to use our 3rd finger, okay, not our 1st finger, because of the way, because of the mechanics of the way the scale is played. So we're going to go from this note, and if we want, we can play a note 2 frets behind it too. But we'll start from this R, then we go up to the 3rd fret on the next string, then the 5th fret. Now this arrow, this indicates that we slide across 2 frets. Okay? Now it's important that you slide with that 3rd finger as opposed to using your 3rd finger, 1st finger again, then 3rd. Okay, so we go 3rd finger, slide up, then we play 5th fret on the next string, 7th fret, which is another R or another root note. Then we play 5th fret on the next, 7th on the next, then again we slide up 2 frets. Okay, and then we play the 8th fret on the next string, 10th fret, which is another root note, right? And then we play the 8th on the high E, 10th on the high E, then we slide that up to 12. Okay, so if we play that whole thing, and I start from the R, ignoring the note 2 frets behind it for now. So that's the exact same notes as this. If I play pattern 1, and then go a bit higher. So that's another benefit of this pattern. You have more range in the scale. Okay, you have a lower note to begin with, and it goes up to a higher note. So a good way to get some really nice flowing lines going on. So wherever you line up that root note with, that is going to dictate the key you're in. Okay, so if I, again, say I wanted to play in B, okay, I line this up with the B note, which would be the 7th fret, then I play the same thing. I can start from the note 2 frets behind if I want. Now I'm on the root note, slide up, slide up, slide up, right? Whoops. Cool. Now, if we go back to our key of A, and you're familiar with your pentatonic shapes, you might recognize that it kind of starts in pattern 5 behind pattern 1, then we slide over to pattern 1, then we slide over to pattern 2, and we kind of end up in the high note in pattern 3. The other cool thing about the scale is that you're just using the same fingering the whole time, right? 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Cool. Now if I put this in some context, I'll just loop something quickly. Okay, and I'll do some soloing using it. So you don't always just have to go up and down like this. Backwards. Right, messing around with some of the notes, but still just notes in that shape. You get the idea. So that was just using that shape and improvising, you know, messing around with this box here, sliding up, sliding up, right up to pattern 3 in the end. So hopefully that has made sense, that shape there. So this shape is good if your root note of the key you're soloing in, if you want to start it on the E string. Okay, because there's a root note on the E string there. So yeah, if I wanted the key of D, I would line up that root note with it there. Right, play through like that. Now the next shape is the exact same concept where we're sliding horizontally along patterns, laterally. Except our root note is going to be starting on the A string. I always think it's good to learn scale shapes or chord shapes with your root note on the E and the A string because it just allows you a lot more fretboard freedom. You know, in a key like D, I might not want to start all the way on the 10th fret. I might want to start on the 5th fret of the A, which is also a D. Right? So the way I play this, again, because of the mechanics of this scale, we're kind of working backwards from the root note in a sense. I would put my 3rd finger on that root note. And I can play these 4 notes down here. Right, you can play below the root note. Just the root note is there so that we can navigate the fretboard and know where to line all these notes up with. So if I'm in D, right, first 4 notes, then I go on so now I'm on the 5th fret of the D, slide across to the 7th fret of the D, 5th fret of the G, 7th fret of the D, right, this is a root note again. Then I play the 6th fret of the B, 8th fret of the B, slide up 2 frets, then 8th fret of the high E. Now I'm on a root note, which would be the 10th fret of the high E, right? So this would be in the key of D. Right, quite cool. Again, if I get a loop going, show you it in context. Well, that didn't even play. There we go. Okay. So root note, 5th fret of the A string, which is a D note. Go down. Back on the root note. Slide up. 5th fret G, root note. 6th fret B at the top. I keep playing that wrong. Anyway, so that shape there, you line that root note up on the A string with your target key on the A string and you'll be good as gold. So if I wanted to play in the key of E and I wanted to start on the A string, okay, I go on the 7th fret of the A, line up that root note in that second shape. out. Right? If I think about it too much, I make mistakes. But hopefully this has all been clear. I also want to mention I am teaching over Skype. There'll be a link in the description where you can use an online calendar and just book a lesson through that. It's easy as. But let me know if you have any more questions or any lessons, any topics you would like covered, and I'll see you next time.